This is Raina Leon answering questions about Canticle of Idols, but this one doesn't actually have to do with the book. Here it is. Were there any literary pilgrimages you've ever gone on? Literary pilgrimages. So there are a number of folk who have gone to the graves of poets they love and found something, some connection in standing by a poet's resting place. Perhaps someone whose resting place has been ignored. I think my literary pilgrimages have been to places of the living, of community. So, in going to Cave Canem for the first time, I think that was my literary pilgrimage. That was my travel to a holy space. And in being even the way of getting there is kind of magical. So I met Larre van Cleef Stefanen, the Cave Canem poet, in my last year at Penn State while I was an undergraduate. And she was talking about Black Swan, which was her first book. And I go to this reading, and at that point I was starving, literally surviving on Snickers, because for some reason in my head I thought that I was getting some nutritional value from spending like 65 cents or something on a Snickers and dividing it out half per day. I don't know why. I, I perhaps I should have gotten more support in a PE health class or something. As a high school student, I look back on the poor decisions. But anyway, that's how I was surviving. So I go to this reading, and it's amazing. And I had just talked to my friend Liam about that experience of trying to survive, and and the reason I was trying to survive was not because I didn't have any money. It was because I had diverted all of my money to taking my father on a trip to Puerto Rico, and my mother on a trip, first time for her out of the country, out of the continent, to Italy and Greece. So I starved for practically a year to afford those two trips, because my parents mean that much. My father had just retired, and my mom had turned 50. So anyway, I'm starving. I go to this reading Larre gives, and I just told my friend Liam about this. And afterwards, I go up to where Larre is signing books, and I tell her that I wish I could buy a book. I really try to support artists in their work, but I just don't have it. And she gave me a book. She signed it to me. And imagine the scene. I'm leaving the library, which is where this reading happened. And there's rain, torrential rain. And I have this book, and of course I didn't bring my umbrella. So I have my backpack, and I'm putting this book underneath everything that I'm wearing to keep it safe. Crying in the rain because somebody saw me in my despair and need. And she was doing a craft lecture the next day, and invited me to come. And I never missed class, but I missed class to go to her lecture, to her craft talk. And she talked about Cave Canem. So the deadline for Cave Canem was soon after that. I apply and get waitlisted. So I'm like, well, it's not meant to be. And I go to Italy and Greece a few weeks after graduation with my mom. We have this amazing experience. We're broke the whole time. It's like bread and cheese and water. That's every day, every day. Every now and then we might have like a Coke or a glass of wine because wine was cheaper than water. But we made it and we enjoyed our time. And one day my mom is like, I can't stand it anymore. I can't wash this pair of underwear one more time. I'm going to a laundromat and I'm paying to wash my clothes. She'll be so embarrassed to see this. And I checked my email at the same time, and turns out there was a space for me at Cave Canem. And I tell you, I begged and I borrowed. I didn't steal, but I begged and I borrowed to get that $500 to get to Cave Canem. And it changed my life. It changed my life. And when I left, I felt like from the very core of me, I was radiating a bright yellow light. It was the time when I felt my most beautiful and um, and radiant and magnetic and filled and joyful, just joyful. So much so that I could swear that I could levitate. That and any conflicts that I encountered on my way back home, and there were many. Missed a bus, was like waiting for 6 hours, and on a bus that many conflicts on the way to get back home to Philadelphia. But whoever I encountered and whatever was occurring, I was so filled with joy that there was laughter and there was dancing even with everyone I met. And it wasn't just me. It was like being in connection with others. That's what joy can do. So for me, again, it wasn't going for a literary pilgrimage. It wasn't going to a place of the forgotten or the ignored and talking about that meaning. But it was going to a place of the living and the joyful and the magnificent and feeling a part of that. I've had the great fortune of now being able to go to Cave Canem and graduate from that, and go to Canto Mundo and just graduate this past summer, and go to Macondo for the first time this past summer. Thank God I can go. It's a lifetime commitment, so I can go again. And many other communities, Carolina African American Writers Collective, for example. I think that is my literary pilgrimage. That's where I find the sacred in the word and in the people who love the word and love one another. I hope that answers your question.